Hello and welcome to my studio. We are working on the proportions of the human face today. I have here my charcoal pad, 19 by 24. I've got some charcoal drawing utensils up underneath me here, and we're going to talk about drawing the face. So you can do it vertically or horizontally, whichever is comfortable for you. I'm going to work vertically today. The first thing you want to do is start with an oval. And when I say oval, it's more like an egg shape, usually depending on the person's face that you're drawing. A lot of times you can look at the shape of the person's face that you're drawing. Sometimes they have a heart-shaped face. Sometimes it's an oval. Sometimes it's more squarish. Sometimes, it just depends. So, but just think about an upside down egg. So what I want to do is get my charcoal out here. I'm just working with pressed charcoal sticks. You want to start with the top of the egg, an upside down egg. So this is your big part of the oval, and it just kind of gets smaller as you go. You want to kind of draw lightly because a lot of this you're going to erase. These are guidelines mostly. So you're going to make your upside down egg. I'm drawing off to the side here so that you can see the drawing. So I'm trying not to get my face or my head in front of the camera, but a little difficult sometimes. So you start with your oval. It's not perfect. All right, you can fix that later. Now, you're going to want to do light guidelines in here to help you with your proportions. I'm just cleaning that up just a little bit so you won't be confused. This part doesn't have to be perfect because most of that's going to either be erased or turned into background or your shading or what have you. So the first thing you want to do is divide your oval down the middle. And I'm not going to use a ruler. I am sitting off to the side. I'm trying not to make this crooked, but I am going to have to get in the way here. So this is the middle of your face. Most human beings are symmetrical. So everything on one side is on the other side under normal circumstances. All right, that might be a little off over there, but you get the point. So why don't I make that one a little bit darker there? All right, and then you're going to take this oval and you're going to divide it in half. Now, I'm not going to exactly measure it. I can if I want to. Yes, so why don't I do that? If I want to measure it, I can come over here. I have a really, really long ruler. It's so long. I'll come over here and measure this. If you want to be perfect about it, you don't have to do that. If you've been drawing a long time, you can kind of eyeball it. But this oval is about 18 inches roughly. So my middle line would be about right there, roughly. Okay, but if I didn't have that, you can just kind of eyeball it if you're good at that. So I'm going to take my charcoal and lightly draw a horizontal line going across. Now that's where my eyes are going to be. It needs to be straight. I'm sitting off to the side. If it's not straight, please forgive me. It's hard to do off to the side. I'm trying to not get in the way of the camera. So basically, if you go from one side of your face to the other side of your face, if you're looking at a human face straight ahead, the eyes, you measure everything by eye length. So if your eye goes about right here, roughly, I'm just kind of grasping at the air here, but your face is about 5 eye lengths across. So let's say that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you do it right. So you kind of want to sketch out in the middle of this. Your eyes go on this line. Your eyes don't go up here. What goes here between the top of your head and your eyes is hair. So your eyes don't go up here. This is mostly forehead. This is eyebrow, forehead, and then hair. So your eyes don't go way up there. All right, so if I want to make my eye roughly about in the center of this space here, if that's right, I can measure that, and I should have 5 of these going across. 1, let's see, that's too big. That might be too big. 1, 2, yeah, that's wrong. All right, so that means my eye needs to be bigger for the size of this space. All right, so let's try that again. Let's see. The issue is going to be here. I need to move it over. That's what I need to do. All right, let's do that. All right, let's move my eye over. All right. If I want that to be here, then I need my eye to be here. If you start with eyes, everything, and if the eyes are right, everything else should be right. So now let me get my eraser and erase as you go. Whatever's wrong, you need to erase it so you don't get confused as to what's what. And then once you start filling it in, it'll work out. It should work out. All right, that might look a little weird, but we'll get there. Now we should be able to measure 5 eyes going across. So roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's about right. So now I'm going to take, you can't move your fingers. I'm going to take this and move from here, make a little mark. That's where my eye is going to be. Measure, move from here, make a little mark. That's where my eye is going to be. I'm not using a ruler. I'm eyeballing this. All right, now measure. That's about a little off, but you're going to measure you're going to alter the side of the face. Okay, that's about right. This side is a little bit better. Now, if you start there, why don't I fix this since it's bothering me? Let's go over here and fix this. So this side of my face. You're probably going to have to, that's probably going to change anyway because you have your temples, you have indentation around the temples, and then you have cheekbones, and then you have your cheeks, and then your jawline. So that's not going to this is not going to be perfect over here. A lot of that's going to disappear anyway. So don't worry about getting the oval perfect. All right, so then you can start on your detail if you want. Just make it proportional and symmetrical. And it's hard for me to see this because I'm sitting off to the side. All right, I can see in my reflection a little bit. So you're just kind of mapping in where it's supposed to be. And it's not perfect. Please forgive me. I think that one's higher than this one. It doesn't have to be perfect right now, but at least you want to get a little, likeness how you want to get it. Because if you sit it right in the first place, you'll be okay. All right, so roughly, that might be okay. We'll get there. Now, your nose is about halfway between your eyes and your chin, and then your mouth is halfway between your nose and your chin. Or you can look at it this way. If you take an eye length and you turn it sideways, that's where your nose needs to start. But you can't move your fingers. All right, so hold it, turn it sideways. That's where my nose is about going to be. I dropped let's try it this way. I'm not left-handed. That's not going to work because I'm not left-handed. All right, let's do that. It's about right there. I'm making a mark where my nose will be. So if you measure on your own face, and I'm not going to touch my face, but if you measure on your own face, if I'm looking straight ahead at y'all, if I sit here, if I measure my eye this way, there should be an eye length in between. And if I measure my eye this way and turn it this way, this should be, it's hard to do it like this, but this should be an eye length that way for the top of your nostril. Okay? All right, so that's where the top of my nostril is. And then it's hard for me to turn like this sideways, but you get the point. So it's about roughly right there. All right, now your nostrils are going to be a little bit further out than the corner of your eye. So it's somewhere around here. And if you draw two little parentheses, those are your nostrils. And depending on the person's nostrils, you've got really like this little loop-de-loop. I've got a loop here, a loop down, loop back up, and loop around. It's just a little loop-de-loop, depending on the shape of the person's nostrils. Now, this feels like it's a little small on this side, so maybe I need to come over a little bit here. Remember, I'm drawing off to the side, and it's throwing me off, so I want to get my proportions right now. So that's going to mean that this is wrong. So let's come on over here to there. All right, there we go. Now, your mouth, you've got about half an eye distance from the bottom of your nose to the top of your lip. So if you take half an eye, roughly, it's going to be about right there. And depending on the person's lips, whoever you're drawing, or if you're just drawing an imaginary person, they're about the same. So you want to do about, if I do like this, well, I'm doing half an eye, I'm sorry. Half an eye. Is that right? Yep. All right. Is it a whole eye for my mouth? I don't know. Let's see. It's about 3/4 of an eye. So let's do about like that much for the whole mouth. And then you have, to separate your top lip and your bottom lip. So how far does your mouth come out? Your mouth comes out to about where the middle of your iris. Okay? If I'm looking straight ahead. Now let me do this in the camera. If I cannot smile. Okay, so the corners of my mouth are about right here. Depending on the person's face. Now I'm not saying I'm drawing myself. I'm just kind of showing you proportions. So I made some little marks. You might not be able to see those, but then you can be able to draw the person's mouth in there. Now you got to look at the person that you're drawing. If you're drawing yourself, you got to pay attention to details and the shape of their mouth, the shape of their nose, and all that. All right, so basically, that's pretty much it. Then you've got there's a lid, a fold in your eyelid. Everybody has one. It's just a line. Now I'm going to do the rest of this really fast. You've probably got about half an eye between the top of your eye and the bottom of your eyebrow, roughly. I'm just sketching this in, and then you come back in with your value and shading. I'm doing this for the sake of time. I have no idea what this looks like. Just try to do the same thing on both sides in the same place, if that's what the person looks like. You want to look at who you're drawing and go from there. That's not symmetrical because I'm sitting off to the side. Okay, let's fix it. That might be, where's my eraser? Okay, that came in too far. Sort of, kind of, maybe, yeah. Or maybe it might be down a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect right now. You can fix that. So we'll fix that. All right, so now basically with the rest of the time that I have, your chin is about, it's not going to be this much, I don't think. Your chin is about, let's see. I have to close my mouth though. Hold on. A little bit more than eye. So it's about like that much. That's about right. That's actually about right. So you have temples here. Remember, you have your temples go in right here. You have cheekbones. You have your cheeks, and then your jawline. So just real quick, you have an indentation somewhere around here. And then You got to curve this out, and then you've got your jawline around there. I want to go in further for that. Okay, same thing on the other side, because you don't have an egg head. That's not right. You don't have an egg head. You have bone structures and all of that. I'm off to the side here. Okay, that's okay. And then you have whatever the person's hair looks like. I don't know. I'm just totally making this up. This is going to be, I don't know what I want this to look like. You're going to have some hair in there. And then you're going to have, this is the top of the person's head, and then you draw, you know, whatever the, I don't know what this looks like now. You draw whatever the hair looks like. And if it needs to come up some, fine. Are you getting my point here? I'm going off the paper. Let's go off the paper. I don't know what the hair looks like. The neck is going to be somewhere around the outside of the eyes, I think. All right. And then, is that about right? That's about right. I'm totally freehanding this. So what am I doing here? All right. You know, you can just draw your hair. So once you do your hair, then you need to erase all that. I just made a stray mark, but you get the point. So you're gonna do a lot of erasing and a lot of filling in and a lot of value. This is where you start doing your shading. So if you get this part right, you can get everything else about right. And then you would erase this. And this is charcoal, so it's not erasing beautifully, but you get the point. And then you would erase this. And then you can go back in with your detail and your value. Erase all lines that don't belong, all your guidelines. And that's why you want to draw lightly, because you're going to erase most of that. And that's our demo for today. I'm going to brush away what I call the eraser crumbs, and then that's when you start filling in your value. But if you follow those basic proportions, you'll be okay on the human face.